last 24 hours. Powered by Yiddish24, provided to you by The Click. Good morning. Today is Ches Kislev, Tufshim Paivuv, Erev Shabbos Kodesh Parshas Vayatzai, and it's Friday, Black Friday. It's November 28, 2025. My name is Gershy Schwarcz, and I'm your host on Edge. We have a lot to unpack, so let's begin, shall we? One of the two National Guard soldiers shot near the White House 2 days ago has died. 20-year-old Sarah Beckstrom has passed away from her wounds. The second soldier, a 24-year-old Andrew Wolf, is still fighting for his life in critical condition. The man who shot them is named Ramanullah Lakanwal. He is an Afghan national who worked with the CIA and the US forces in Afghanistan. He came to America in 2021 during the chaotic withdrawal under President Joe Biden, for those of you who remember. But it turns out that he was officially granted asylum just this past April under the current Trump administration. President Donald J. Trump is furious. He's blaming the Biden team entirely for bringing Lakanwal into the country in the first place. A reporter told Trump that officials found the suspect was vetted. Trump yelled back. He went cuckoo. He went nuts. Shall we listen to what he's saying? No? Okay, he's not saying that. Okay, fine. He went cuckoo. He went nuts. There was no vetting. I would rather you hear it from his own mouth, but whatever. The reporter asked him again, saying the DOJ Inspector General reported there was thorough vetting of the Afghans brought to the US, so why blame Biden? Trump snapped. Are you stupid? Are you stupid person? You're just asking questions because you're a stupid person, he says. Afterwards, the president announced that he will permanently pause migration from all third world countries to let the American system recover. The biggest thing that keeps many of us from getting real work done and spending more quality time with our family is the news. Ironically, I'm giving you the news, so why am I saying that? Well, we want to let you know that On Edge News is exactly there for this reason, to fix this problem. We come in here like once or maybe twice a day, but for now, once a day, with 15 to 20 minutes segment of everything that is happening across the nation, across the world, across the globe. For you to know, we are all curious, we all want to know what's going on. So that's why I'm here. Not just headlines, but the full story with the important details and a clean, kosher, direct way. No Lashon Haras, no nothing. Everything's clean, kosher, and it's already powered by Yiddish24, where I give it for the last half a year or more, Baruch Hashem, and we reach a total of 60,000 Yidden combined with the Hakol Bakol hotline as well, where they can reach us on 118 from the main menu and also 112 from the main menu, for those of you who know Kol Mevaser. And Yiddish24 is the app, the famous website, an app, Yiddish24.com, you can check it out. And now it's in English, thanks to The Click. We started this last week, and Baruch Hashem, we're continuing. Yes, the English news is provided to you by The Click, legadruach.com, the trusted source for minyanim, eateries, and local updates. And that's The Click, as you can see. Now, let us be on edge with the news so you don't have to be. A major undergoing terror pocket has been eliminated in Rafah. Early assessments confirm a clean hit on 24 elite Hamas Nukba operatives who are hiding deep inside a tunnel network on the Israeli-controlled side of the city. In just the last few hours, in the morning, combat teams from the Nachal and Golani brigades working with Yahalami combat engineers found 9 more terrorists dead inside that same system. That brings the total toll of dead Palestinian terrorists to 30, eliminated in this single network. The army says most of the operatives were killed by focused airstrikes or crushed while trying to escape the collapsing tunnels. Forces remain in the area to ensure the entire route is destroyed. Several Israeli reservists were wounded last night. 3 of them, were seriously injured during a ground battle inside Syria. Troops from the 55th Spearhead Brigade crossed the border into the village of Beit Khan, which is near Har Hermon, to capture terrorists linked to Islamic Jihad. They successfully arrested 2 brothers suspected of planting bombs. But as the force was leaving, gunmen ambushed them from close range and started shooting. The soldiers fought back, killing several attackers and calling in airstrikes to cover the exit. The wounded were evacuated immediately to hospitals, and the terror suspects were brought back to Israel for interrogation. While troops were fighting in the north, an incident happened inside Israel, in the West Bank, in Jenin, involving undercover border police. 2 wanted terrorists were shot and killed during a raid, but reports say the 2 were surrendering and weren't a threat. The undercover team surrounded a building, used the pressure cooker tactic that the Israeli army is known to use a lot, to force the 2 suspects out by smashing the walls with engineering vehicles. Commanders say that they suddenly stopped obeying orders and tried to move back towards the building because the soldiers were scared of a trap or hidden weapons inside that building. The forces therefore opened fire. A video of the shooting has spread online and fast, leading to accusations and obviously against Israel that they were shooting innocent Palestinians who were surrendering. Israel is fighting a guerrilla war in very dense populated areas, for those of you who don't know. Same as in Gaza and same as in Jenin. An off-duty Israeli Defense Force soldier shot and wounded a Palestinian man last night near the tunnels checkpoint on Route 60, south of Yerushalayim. Border police, Mishtar Gvul officers, were in the area working to stop people entering Israel illegally and had just detained several Palestinians without legal permits near the crossing. A soldier in civilian clothes who was riding a public bus nearby saw the operation, seems to have thought it was a terror attack, got off the bus, I don't blame him, and opened fire towards the group of Palestinians. One of them was hit and evacuated for medical treatment. There were no Israeli casualties, and police say the incident is under investigation. Another person in Israel got stuck on a high crane in Tel Aviv. It's the second one in a week. What are you guys doing on cranes? A drunk tourist had to be rescued this morning after getting stuck high up on a crane in a construction site which is on a street in Tel Aviv. He is a tourist who does not speak the language, Hebrew, and was apparently under the influence of alcohol. After the rescue, he was handed over to medical teams at the scene. Stop climbing cranes. I know you want to see the view. This guy, I don't know what he was doing on the crane. I guess he saw the news from that Bocha, the 15-year-old, so he thought it's a great idea. Well, for those of you stuck on cranes or maybe drunk from all the applications and software that you guys have to deal with several subscriptions a month that cost you an astronomical amount of money. Well, today is Black Friday, and Protobyte has an offer for you. Call Protobyte on 347-354-1237 or Cyber Monday. Whatever. Just mention on Edge, you get a good deal. 347-354-1237. Protobyte. proto-byte.com. Call them. They'll tell you all about it. The ground is shaking in Iran. State TV reports a 5.1 magnitude earthquake has struck central Iran, another crisis to a country already falling apart. Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khomeini is responding directly to reports, like the one we reported here yesterday, that Iranians are turning against their government. In a televised speech, Khomeini insisted that the resistance movement against Israel and America is not going to die, is not going anywhere. He told the crowd, the resistant movement in the region will continue, midoir ledoir, will grow and must continue generation after generation. He claimed that recent Israeli and American strikes have failed to destroy their network, insisting that Iran stands strong against bullying powers. While the Supreme Leader talks about fighting the world, his own people are struggling just to breathe. A severe red alert for air pollution has shut down schools and forced millions indoors across Tehran and major cities like Isfahan and Karaj. The air is toxic because the government has run out of natural gas. To keep the lights on, power plants are now burning something called mazout, a low-grade, dirty, heavy fuel oil that covers the cities in thick, poisonous smog. On top of the bad air, the country is facing its fourth straight year of extreme drought, with water reservoirs in the capital dropping to dangerous lows. This is exactly what happens when a government spends all its money trying to develop nuclear weapons instead of taking care of its own country. New reports reveal Iran has been avoiding sanctions by funneling funds through Dubai to help their proxies, like Hezbollah, rebuild their forces and weapon depot in Lebanon. Meanwhile, Iranian diplomats in Geneva are not managing to stop the new sanctions. European officials warned they are ready to trigger snapback penalties, restoring all UN sanctions if Tehran doesn't stop enriching uranium. They officially denied reaching out to the US, stating that the Trump administration is not worthy of contact. They also lashed out at Australia for officially listing yesterday the IRGC, their own army, as a state sponsor of terror after anti-Semitic attacks. For those of you who remember the story that happened, the vandalism happened Friday night in a shul in Australia. Peace talks are getting closer, but the two sides are completely stuck on who owns the land. Well, we're speaking of Russia and Ukraine. The US has proposed a plan to freeze the war exactly where the soldiers are standing right now. This would stop the shooting, but it wouldn't fix the borders yet. Putin is saying, maybe, but he has a huge condition. He is demanding that Ukraine pull its army out of the 4 major regions and hand over the territories to Russia immediately. He wants land that his army hasn't even captured yet. Ukraine's answer is obviously a hard no. Their top negotiator said they are willing to pause the war and freeze the front lines to save lives, but, he insisted, they will never sign a piece of paper that gives the land to Russia. They will stop shooting, but they won't surrender the territory. We all know what Putin said yesterday after hearing what someone said well, he said it, that he won't stop fighting until the last Ukrainian dies if he has to. Yeah, so we're talking about a dictator, but at the same time, takes two to tango. So, will this war ever end? Teku. Tishbi etaras kashas for you boys. What do we know? Speaking of death, the death toll from a massive fire that happened in Wang Fuk, we reported on this 2 days ago, in Wang Fuk Court that happened at the beginning of the week in a residential complex in Hong Kong, has officially hit, sadly, 128 people that died, with nearly 200 people still trapped, missing in the wreckage. We said yesterday that the flames shot up the building's exterior because of bamboo scaffolding and flammable plastic netting used for renovations. We now know why so many people died. The fire alarms reportedly didn't work. Police have arrested 8 construction bosses or workers tied to this problem. Well, we all know what's a problem. When you have a business and you're creative and you get lost in the tracks, perfection, right? Perfectionism. We all suffer from the same thing. I know. Some of us do at least. Well, Reb David Wanounou, a ish chesed, a shliach elokim, I would say. He comes to you and he puts the business on its tracks, and he turns in small, tiny businesses into multi-million-dollar businesses. That's his specialty. The Trepper Plan. You can call him, you can get in touch with him, and email david@thetrepperplan.com and call 845-414-8100. Mention On Edge to him, and he will give you a good deal. And it's Black Friday today, so who knows. The Satmar Rebbe from Kiryas Yol returns home after a 10-day trip to Eretz Yisrael. We already reported many times what and where, and he spent his time in Meron and had a major event there, Adloka. It was amazing. Passengers on a flight over Ethiopia were able to see Mount Chayil Gubi erupting for the first time. It was amazing. So, a beautiful sight. Now, before we go to the fun facts of the day, why Black Friday is called Black Friday, we'll go into that. Let's talk about Arrive Express, 845-622-1111 or 845-254-1111. That's from Monroe. Wise Capital Group, 718-831-2168. And the answer is always yes with them. You can borrow money for investment, no closing costs. Yes. Shawarma Delight, if you're hungry. Here in Monsey, 26 Spring Valley Marketplace, next to Bingo, 845-272-0011. Shawarma Delight. That's sdny.store. You can order your shawarma or anything else. They're open till very late Thursday nights, and usually every night till 10:30. Thursday nights till Chatzos, Alayla. You can order whatever yapchik, whatever Lal Shishi has to provide, they have to provide. Whatever Lal Shishi is known to provide. Whatever is known to provide on Lal Shishi. I know there's a store called Lal Shishi. They didn't sponsor this, so I'm sponsoring Shram Delaite. Anyway, the point is historic facts of the day on Edge, brought to you by The Click. Jonathan Pollard, we reported about him very recently, who had worked for naval intelligence, is arrested in Washington and charged with spying for Israel on this day, on Ches Kislev, in year 1985. He was sentenced to life imprisonment, for those of you remember, and then he was released later in 2017, it was. The real story behind Black Friday. Well, the true meaning of Black Friday is not about stores finally making a profit. Most people think the name comes from businesses moving in from the red to the black on their balance sheets. That is actually a myth invented by retailers in the 1980s to make the day sound positive. The real story started in Philadelphia in the 1960s. Police officers called it Black Friday because the day was a total nightmare for them. Huge crowds of shoppers and tourists flooded the city before the Army-Navy football game. It caused massive traffic jams and chaos, forcing people to work long shifts to handle accidents and shoplifters. City merchants tried to change the name to Big Friday because it sounded nicer, but it never stuck. Looks like the branding wasn't great enough. The original financial crash black market also has a much darker history that has nothing to do with shopping. Back in 1869, 2 Wall Street investors tried to buy up all the gold in the country to drive up the price. President Ulysses S. Grant stepped in to stop them, and the plan collapsed instantly. The stock market plummeted on that Friday in September. Thousands of Americans went bankrupt in a single day, marking the very first Black Friday. Well, I know one thing. I successfully saved 100% on all my Black Friday purchases today by staying at home. Well, that's a good joke if there wouldn't be online shopping. Today is the Yortzeit of Reb Arden ben Reb Mordche Tversky, the 3rd Rebbe of Chernobyl. Reb Arden was a grandson of Reb Menachem Nuchem, the Meor Anayim of Chernobyl. His childhood teacher, Reb Arden, succeeded his father after the latter's Petira in 1837. He also served as a Nusi of Reb Maya Balanes, Muas Eretz Yisrael, the fund that was in Ukraine. not Rabbi, but he was the Nusi of the organization. Rav Pinchas David ben Reb Shmuel Halevi Horowitz, also today. Reb David ben Shmuel Bornstein of Sochachov, the Chazdai David, also born to the Shem Shmuel, who was the son of the Avnei Nezer, the Boston Rebbe. On this Shabbos also is the Yotzat of Reb Dov Ber, Shulam Dov Ber ben Shnei Zalman, the Shnuri of Lubavitch, the Mittler Lubavitch Rebbe, known as the Mittler Rebbe. He was the son and successor of his father, Rav Shnei Zalman of, I think it's Layadi, the Baal Hatanya, the Alter Rebbe, and the uncle and father-in-law of the Tzemach Tzedek. Rav Dov Ber assumed the leadership of Chabad upon his father's passing in 1812. Rav Moshe ben Pinchas Shapiro, also on Shabbos, the Ruv of Slevita. There's a Heimish film that we made. It's called Slevita. You can go check it out on Mostly Music. He established the Slevita printing press. I acted there, actually. The printing press, exactly that we're talking about. The printing press. Yes, which printed exclusively Sifra Kodesh. The whole story evolves around the Slevita printing press, that film. You can check it out on Mostly Music. Anyway, with that, my friends, I will end this segment and have a wonderful Shabbos. And we'll see you all, Be'ezrat Hashem Yisborach, on, well, next week. Next week, Monday. We have a Sunday special, by the way. So we'll see you, Be'ezrat Hashem.
Your daily report of the news of the last 24 hours, powered by Yiddish24, provided to you by The Click.